the training and its purpose. How do you think this is going to change the approach of police officers in handling cases as they uphold human rights in Uganda?
Yeah, well, my name is Anguyo Jimbaiga. I'm Superintendent of Police, and I speak for the police of West Nile region. Today we are privileged to have undertaken a training that has been organized by Uganda Human Rights Commission. And to me, this training has come timely because we are reaching time of electioneering. And during this process, there are a lot of confusion from the public and even ignorance from the side of the police officers who will handle these cases. And this training has come timely, and I'm sure it's going to impact positively on the actions of the police officers, especially those who have gained from this training of human rights. Very many times, policemen disrespect human rights of the electorates, and also sometimes they end up abusing some of these rights. But today, this training has opened our eyes that since we're entering this electioning process, we already have skills that we are going to use to make sure our policing in this region is better than before. And I'm sure the police officers who have gotten this training are going to have impact in their communities and where they are going to serve. Number two, I'm sure the complaints that have been coming to Uganda Human Rights Commission will reduce, because now we have the skills, we have the competences to handle issues in delivering services in the lens of Uganda human rights and the lens of human rights.
About issues of torture and the over-detention, there were main issues that came up, but also cases that are false. How do you think police can do better in these areas, which they are always accused of, even bribery cases?
One, police has been detaining over 48 hours, the gazetted hour. Two, there have been habitual arrests. Three, there have been over detentions and so corruption tendencies. But not all policemen do this, but some people, some individuals. That's why there is individual responsibility in whatever you do, in as far as human rights are concerned. So if one tortured a suspect, it's you to answer the charges. It's you to account for your actions. But as police, we're already empowered. I'm sure the issues of over-detention are going to reduce. I'm sure the issues of habitual arrest is going to reduce. I'm sure the issues of corruption are going to reduce. I'm also urging the public out there. Corruption, yes. Policemen, some of them are corrupt. But even the public, sometimes they encourage the policemen to receive these bribes. So it's a two-way thing. Yes, the public will blame the police because they have received the bribe. But remember, in corruption tendencies, there is always a giver, there is a receiver. So you who gives, you know that you're also corrupt. And the police officer who has received is also corrupt. So it's a two-way thing. Let's fight it together. Let's make sure we coexist. That's between the suspects, the civilians, and even the police officers. Let's all respect our rights. A suspect is presumed innocent by the law until he is proved guilty by a competent court of law. So who are you to get more annoyed and torturing this suspect than even the complainant? So we should respect and observe human rights.
There was this issue of police being ordered by, maybe RDCs or politicians, or sometimes they say order from above. How are you managing this so that officers are not acting outside the law?
We are now empowered. That's one. Number two, we have been told what to do. For example, if there's a politician who forces you to effect arrest, you should be able to explain to him kindly that, yes, you have ordered me to arrest this person, but according to the law, this is the position of the law. You should be able to kindly guide that officer, but not answering rudely. Yes, it is true. Some of these politicians even don't know the law. So you as a police officer, you know the law. It's your duty to explain the law to such a person. So we should be firm, We operate within our means and emphasize professionalism in the way we execute our duties.
Maybe a bit about use of force, extraordinary force, while arresting suspects.
Yeah, there are some suspects who sometimes resist arrest, and this prompts policemen to use some minimum force. But the force must be proportionate. It must not be excessive. Where you fail to arrest, you can withdraw. You plan again. If you have gone to arrest and you failed, you come back, report to authority. Another means can be devised. So we discourage forceful arrests. We discourage unnecessary use of force, especially use of lethal weapons and so on. We don't encourage that. We discourage that.
Let's start with the training. How is it going to change the approach of work of police so that they can respect and protect, but also fulfill government obligations on human rights?
Good evening, Superintendent of Police, Asia Collins. I speak for police, so Northwest Region. First of all, I want to thank the organizer, that is Uganda Human Rights West Nile Region, for organizing this training. First of all, it is timely because as we are heading towards election, election has a lot of fatigue. So we're very happy to have the training, and I'm also hoping that the officers who attended the training, they go with some idea of how to protect human rights, especially individual. Where I was telling them, human rights is for everybody, because you may think you are violating somebody's right. At the end of the day, the law will catch up with you, and it will be too late. By the time you start crying, you are right, yet at the back of your mind, you also violated somebody's right. So it is a timely training, and this one is going to have a great impact on our officers. And there are very many who had not had the training before, but this timely training is going to impact positive impact on their day-to-day work, because our works are about the rights of the community. Secondly, this one also attended the training. They are going to impact more knowledge on those who are left behind at the station, so that when they go out, they should go out to work with the human face, especially about the rights of the civilians they are going to protect. Lately, the law has been amended, and of course, if you if you are as a police officer, you are got outside the law will take you as an individual. If it is asset, it will take you as asset. Not a police and as an institution, because police did not send you to go and violate people's rights. Police send you to go and do your mandate, protect and serve. But if you go beyond what our procedure, of course the law will catch up with you and you will face it individually. Then from there you should not blame police, because police, I told you, as an institution, did not send you to go and violate people's rights. It is you who made a decision, who went and put personal feeling in institution's work. So this is a good training, and I pray when our officers go to the community, they practice human rights.
Okay, there's the emotion that police officers have entangled themselves with.
Yes.
Whenever they are in any encounter with the local people.
Yes.
Then once they become emotional, there's a way they use force which becomes extraordinary compared to the force that they're supposed to use.
You see, we're supposed to use maximum force. Secondly, you don't bring emotion in police work. First of all, we are trained. Those civilians are not trained. We are trained to how to deal with them. But if you go there and you start putting emotion first, Yet your duty is to protect and serve. If you forget about your duty and then you become emotional, that's where you go wrong. And that's where you will even violate people's rights. And the law will catch up with you. I'm always urging them, let them be sober. And when they encounter with the aggression from the community, they are trained to counter that. But when you put emotion first, that's when you lose focus. And in most cases, our officers have got off guard because they lose focus in performing their duty. But if you follow exactly what is our duty, what is our role, then you'll become a good police officer than becoming emotional.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
The issue of torture, and also there are officers who say their rights are violated. I know there's a PSU that handles cases of officers. Do you think officers whose rights have been abused, but also they are sick in Uganda, have been given justice?
Definitely, who abuse it? These officers who abuse their right, they should start from there. Like if somebody like me abuse an officer, the laws are there. You take the law. What does the law say about abuse of a right? A case can be opened against you, and then of course they will take you on. Now, in case their rights are violated and they are not getting justice, I really also find it hard, because this is a family and we have a mechanism to solve our problems. You can either go disciplinary or to court, and then if court process say you are not guilty, of course you'll be acquitted and then you'll be a free man. But most cases, when officers our rights are abused, we always tell them, open a case. If by a fellow officer, you open a case. If it is by a civilian, you also open a case, because we can be sued and they can also sue us. So it is two-way forward.
Lastly, there are people who come, RDC, because it's chairman security, LC5, politicians, MPs, they give wrong orders, I would say, because they are not allowed to give orders to police to arrest. And many people have suffered because of wrong orders from politicians. How can officers handle this? I
think the issue is not, don't blame those officers, you blame the officers, because they are trained to do, our work is simple. It doesn't need a rocket science. Protect and serve. Now, if you get such order, first way, is this correct order or this is order which is not there in your line of your duty? But in most cases, some of them want also favors, because if I work with so-and-so RDC, he can talk to promote me, and those people are seasonal, they come and go. But as a police officer, you must remain sober and perform your duty in the line of your professional. But if you go beyond and they start pleasing cheap popularity from these politicians, from RDCs, of course you will go off board. And when issue comes, those people have two heads. When the issue become too hot, they jump away. They leave you. Now, for you now, they will take you. Because one, you know the law. Now, since you know the law, you are working outside the law. Of course, the law will get you alone. And when they are not, they even start laughing at you. But I always urge officers, you stick to what your profession lies. You avoid problems.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Bosco Krut. I work with Uganda Human Rights Commission as the Regional Human Rights Officer in charge of West Nile and Northwest Nile regions. Now, about today's training and all the trainings we have had, that is training of police officers, training of prison officers, training of jealous actors, and then also training of RWCs in the refugee settlements. All these trainings are funded by European Union under the Supreme project. Now, why these trainings is because we want to enhance access to justice, in the refugee settlements and also in the host communities. So these police officers you saw as training are picked from different districts, and these are the people who handle issues of gender-based violence, issues of human rights violations, but also they do deliver service delivery to the refugees and also the host communities. Now, the prison officers are equally important in such trainings because, as you may realize, they are at the receiving end. You know, after the arrest has been made, suspect is produced before court. After prosecution, the suspect is taken on remand to the prisons. So the prisons are the ones who handle the suspects at last. And when they reach prisons, they are no longer suspects. They are now inmates. So when they are still at police, they are suspects. When they cross from police and reach court, from court to prison, they stop being suspects. Now they are inmates. Now, the jealous actors, this is a combination of jealous institutions. You find the police are there, the judiciary is there, DPP is there, prison is there, local government is there, among the jealous actors. Why we bring them together is basically to enhance access to service delivery, but specifically access to justice. Because as you realize, all what we are talking about hinges on access to justice, you know. So as a way of enhancing their knowledge on how best they can handle suspects, how best they can handle inmates, you know, at the end of it all, we are looking at access to justice. How best can we help people to access justice? You know, when we talk about the RWCs are the Refugee Welfare Council leaders. Now, these are the refugee leaders who are in touch with the refugees at all levels. So we bring them on board so that they take the message back to their communities. As you all know, the refugees, when they are coming to Uganda, they come not knowing the laws of Uganda. So basically, as Uganda Human Rights Commission, we take them through the laws of Uganda. We want them to understand how the laws of Uganda operate. Because we realize they are coming from South Sudan, they are coming from Congo, they are coming from Sudan, where the laws are quite different from the ones of Uganda. And you realize that somebody really is green about the laws of Uganda. And in most cases, we have met these refugees in the prisons, in the police cells, and they tell us that they really don't know what the laws of Uganda say. So some of them commit offenses, not because they want to commit offenses, but because they don't know what the laws of Uganda are saying. For example, the issue of defilement. In some of these countries, defilement is different. You know, when they come to Uganda, some of them come when they are like a husband and wife. When they reach Uganda, you find it's against the law of Uganda. That is defilement. You cannot get married to a child who is below 18 years. So you find that is defilement, and they are used to their practice. Now when they come here, the law does not allow them to do that. So that is just one example. So why we bring all these trainings is because we want everyone, all the jealous actors, you know, to deliver services. You know, human rights based approach to service delivery is the key. As they deliver their services to the communities, we want them to use the human rights based approach. Have people as human beings. You know, you asked about police using excess, you know, excess power, you know, during arrest. Police are not supposed to use excessive power, you know, during the arrest, excessive force rather. But they are supposed to use in the case of anything, reasonable force, the law allows that. But reasonable force depends on the circumstances, But as you heard the participants here say, in most cases, some police officers just decide to use excess force, which is against the law. And we now come in and try to explain to them that while you're performing your duties as police officers, you have to be mindful of what the law says. The law allows you to use, this kind of force, not excess. When you go against the law, then the law will come for you. Then we have scenarios where police officers use emotions, during the arrest, during the detention of these suspects. That is also not professional. As a police officer, you are not supposed to get more annoyed than the person who has brought a complaint before you. Somebody has registered a case against the other person, but now you take it upon yourself. You want to be more annoyed than the person who has brought a complaint to register. That is being unprofessional, and it is against the law. So you realize that we have been trying to talk to these police officers, to talk to the prison officers, to talk to the jailhouse actors, to see how we can bridge the gap. Where there is a gap, we need to have it closed. Now, as we head into this, towards these elections, it's even worse. As you might have heard some of them saying, some of them are forced to do those things. Somebody makes an order, orders you simply because they are a politician. Somebody orders you to arrest another person without any clear reason. And some of them, you find them doing it, indeed. And that is against the law. As police officers, they are supposed to follow the law. Where somebody is giving you an order, and it is an unlawful order, you don't have to execute it, because it's unlawful. Even if this person tries as much as possible, you don't have to do it, because this person is not, the person's order is not backed by the law. Where there is no law, it is very easy for you to defend, illegal orders, illegal instructions, which are not lawful. So you find that some of them go overboard to do what they are not supposed to do, and that's why some of them are getting problems. That's why some of them are being taken to the courts of law, and the law, the Human Rights Enforcement Act under Section 10 is very clear. It talks about personal liability of the police officers, of the prison officers, UPDF, any officer, So in that case, therefore, an officer who does something illegal, who does something unlawful, is supposed to be answerable personally, and we have always brought in examples of the cases that have already been judged, where a court awards somebody some compensation, and that compensation is supposed to be paid by an officer personally, where a court decides that an officer should be the one to pay, that compensation. It will be the officer to pay. Where a court decides that probably the officer pays a half of it, and then maybe the Attorney General pays a half of it, that will be the case. So this is why we are bringing these trainings. We find these trainings very, very important for these officers, for the jailhouse actors, for the refugee leaders.
The East versus illegal detention, we still see them happen in Uganda, even in West Nile here. How should this be stopped actually? Because it's illegal to detain somebody in a place which is not gazetted.
Exactly, that's what we have been telling them here. During these trainings, we bring them so that we tell them that what is happening is actually illegal, it's unlawful. So whoever, even after the training, whoever goes ahead and does it again, does it at their own risk. The law is very clear. People are supposed to be detained in gazetted places, not ungazetted places. and these gazetted places they can include police, prison, these are the gazetted places of detention, not
remand homes.
Remand homes, not any other. So you find where somebody is detaining somebody in their house, that's not a detention facility, it's not a gazetted detention facility. So whoever does that does it in their own, at their own risk.
Lastly, what level will you say is torture in West Nile?
Well, as of now, I want to say that torture has reduced drastically in the region. Torture used to be one of the common violations in the region. But we've engaged, and I want to thank the media for this. We've engaged the stakeholders, we've engaged the media, we've engaged the perpetrators of torture. And we are seeing that our interventions are working. Of course, in partnership with the media. I want to thank media for their involvement in this kind of engagements.